Welcome back for another creepy tale with the collective. Tonight we're listening to The Dog and the Sparrow by the Brothers Grimm. But first, please subscribe to this channel if you have not done so. Like this video and turn on your notifications so you don't miss anything that we release. The Dog and the Sparrow. Some time ago there was a sheepdog whose master behaved ill to him and did not give him enough to eat. And when for hunger he could bear it no longer, he left his service very sadly. In the street he was met by a sparrow who said, "Dog, my brother, why are you so sad?" And the dog answered, "I am hungry and have nothing to eat." Said the sparrow, "Dear brother, come with me into the town. I will give you plenty." Then they went together into the town, and soon they came to a butcher's stall. And the sparrow said to the dog, "Stay here while I peck you down a piece of meat." And he perched on the stall, looked round to see that no one noticed him, and pecked, pulled, and dragged, so long at a piece that lay near the edge of the board that at last it slid to the ground. The dog picked it up, ran with it into a corner, and ate it up. Then said the sparrow, "Now come with me to another stall, and I will get you another piece, so that your hunger may be satisfied." When the dog had devoured a second piece, the sparrow asked, "Dog, my brother, are you satisfied now?" "Yes, as to meat I am," answered he, "but I have had no bread." Then said the sparrow, "That also shall you have. Come with me." And he led him to a baker's stall, and pecked at a few rolls until they rolled to the ground. And as the dog still wanted more, they went to another stall further on and got more bread. When that was eaten up, the sparrow said, "Dog, my brother, are you satisfied yet?" "Yes," answered he, "but now we will walk a little outside the town." And they went together along the high road. It was warm weather, and when they had gone a little way, the dog said, "I am tired. I would like to go to sleep." "Well, do so," said the sparrow. "In the meanwhile, I will sit on a bough." The dog laid himself in the road and fell fast asleep. And as he lay there, a wagoner came up with a wagon and 3 horses, laden with 2 casks of wine. The sparrow, seeing that the wagoner was not going to turn aside, but kept in the beaten track just where the dog lay, cried out, "Wagoner, take care, or I shall make you poor." But the wagoner, muttering, "You won't make me poor," cracked his whip and pushed his wagon over the dog, and he was crushed to death by the wheels. Then the sparrow cried, "Thou hast killed the dog, my brother, and it shall cost thee horse and cart." "Why, horse and cart?" said the wagoner. "What harm can you do me?" and drove on. The sparrow crept under the wagon cover and pecked at the bunghole of one of the casks until the cork came out, and all the wine ran out without the wagoner noticing. After a while, looking round, he saw that something dripped from the wagon, and on examining the casks he found that one of them was empty, and he cried, "Ah, poor man that I am!" "Not poor enough yet," said the sparrow, and flying to one of the horses, he perched on his head and pecked at his eyes. When the wagoner saw that, he took out his axe to hit the sparrow, who at the moment flew aloft, and the wagoner, missing him, struck the horse on the head so that he fell down dead. "Ah, poor man that I am!" cried he. "Not poor enough yet," said the sparrow. And as the wagoner drove on with 2 horses that were left, the sparrow crept again under the wagon cover and pecked the cork out of the second cask, so that all the wine leaked out. When the wagoner became aware of it, he cried out again, "Ah, poor man that I am!" But the sparrow answered, "Not poor enough yet," and perched on the second horse's head and began pecking at his eyes. Back ran the wagoner and raised his axe to strike, but the sparrow flew aloft, and the stroke fell on the horse, so that he was killed. "Ah, poor man that I am!" cried the wagoner. "Not poor enough yet," said the sparrow, and perching on the third horse, began pecking at his eyes. The wagoner struck out in his anger at the sparrow without taking aim, and missing him, he laid his third horse dead. "Ah, poor man that I am!" he cried. "Not poor enough yet," said the sparrow, flying off. "Now I will make you poor at home." So the wagoner had to leave his wagon standing and went home full of rage. "Oh," said he to his wife, "what ill luck I have had! The wine is spilled, and the horses are all three dead." "Oh, husband," answered she, "such a wicked bird has come to this house. He has brought with him all the birds of the world, and there they fell upon our wheat and devoured it." And he looked, and there were thousands upon thousands of birds sitting on the ground, eating up all the wheat, and the sparrow in the midst. And the wagoner cried, "Ah, poor man that I am!" "Not poor enough yet," answered the sparrow. "Wagoner, it shall cost thee thy life." And he flew away. Now the wagoner had lost everything he possessed, and he went indoors and sat down, angry and miserable, behind the stove. The sparrow was perched outside on the window-sill and cried, "Wagoner, it shall cost thee thy life." Then the wagoner seized his axe and threw it at the sparrow, but it broke the window sash in two and did not touch the sparrow. He now hopped inside, perched on the stove, and cried, "Wagoner, it shall cost thee thy life." And he, mad and blind with rage, beat the stove in two as the sparrow flew from one spot to another. He hacked everything into pieces: furniture, looking-glasses, benches, table, and the very walls of his house, and yet did not touch the sparrow. At last he caught and held him in his hand. "Now," said his wife, "shall I not kill him?" "No," he cried, "that were too easy a death. He shall be murdered more cruelly. I will swallow him." And he swallowed the sparrow whole. And as the bird fluttered in the man's body, it stretched out its head and said, "Wagoner, it shall cost thee thy life." And as the bird fluttered in the man's body, it stretched out his head and said, "Wagoner, it shall cost thee thy life." Then the wagoner reached the axe to his wife, saying, "Wife, strike me, this bird dead." The wife struck, but missed her aim, and the blow fell on the wagoner's head, and he dropped down dead. But the sparrow flew over the hills and away.